The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Indiana.
Mr. Chairman, Indiana has been hit with a number of severe storms over the last few years. Residents in my district of southern Indiana have been hit especially hard, and many of our local communities continue to be devastated by flooding. While natural disasters cannot be avoided, the government's efforts in responding, preparing, and dealing with these situations can certainly improve. The amendment I offer here today would call for a very small change, but one that I believe will help provide lasting benefits for American cities and towns and the overall flood insurance program. The underlying bill establishes an Office of Flood Insurance Advocate within FEMA. This office is tasked with helping people in the program resolve problems with FEMA flood insurance and identifying potential changes to help fix these problems. My amendment would add another function to this office and call on it to identify ways to assist communities in their efforts to fund the accreditation of flood protection systems. I have heard from several of my local communities that having problems obtaining funding to meet requirements to get their flood protection systems accredited. If a levee shows adequate protection, then FEMA will place it in a moderate risk zone, and property owners are not required to carry flood insurance, referred to as an accredited levee. Decertified or uncertified levees, however, will not be accredited. Therefore, the areas behind these levees will be placed in high-risk areas, and flood insurance will be required for property owners. When FEMA does not design, construct, fund, or approve levee systems or flood wall systems, in 2007, FEMA issued new guidelines that communities must meet. Unfortunately, private companies charge upwards of $500,000 to certify levees for communities, and the Corps of Engineers will only perform them for those who obtain a federal match. This clearly leaves out many smaller communities who are in the most cash-strapped areas. If these communities do not meet FEMA guidelines and due dates, then they will be deemed a high-risk area, and this will dramatically increase the cost of their flood insurance. My amendment would ensure this office looks into this issue and helps find ways to assist communities in their efforts to comply with these new guidelines. I have two cities, Tell City and Cannelton, that face the possibility of being placed in a high-risk flood zone because they are having trouble obtaining certifications. If we help these communities complete their certifications, then we are helping them provide the checks and inspections that are needed to ensure our levees are safe. And if we have safer levees and flood protections in place, then not only will more Americans be protected from devastating natural disasters, but this will prevent the flood insurance program and the federal government from taking on the high costs that would result if the levee or flood protection measure failed to do the job. While I support updating this important program, I believe any new office should be focused on finding ways to reduce the cost of burden for communities that are struggling during this difficult economy. My amendment would ensure that this new office focuses on communities who bear both the burden of natural disasters and the cost in preventing them. I urge my colleagues to pass this common sense amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.